Have you ever looked around your home and thought, why do I still feel so overwhelmed, even when everything seems in place? You're not alone. Because here's the truth. Clutter isn't just the stuff piling up on your shelves or overflowing in your inbox. It's the noise in your mind, the emotional weight you carry every day, the pressure to keep up, to do more, to be more. No matter how organized our closets are, if our hearts are crowded with unspoken worries and our minds are racing from one thought to the next, peace stays just out of reach. But what if peace isn't something to chase? What if it's something we can create? Japanese minimalism offers a quiet wisdom that living with less isn't about lack. It's about space. Space for clarity, for presence, for emotional balance. This isn't about aesthetics. It's about alignment with yourself, with your surroundings, with what actually matters. And in this video, I'll walk you through 9 powerful lessons from Japanese minimalism that go far beyond tidying up. Lessons that can help you untangle the noise inside and build a life that feels lighter, calmer, and more intentional. Let's begin. Lesson 1: the power of empty space. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked around your living space and saw nothing? Not emptiness in a sad or lonely way, but space. Open, calm, breathing room. In Japanese minimalism, empty space isn't seen as a void to be filled. It's an intentional pause, a place for your eyes and your mind to rest. Think of a traditional Japanese room: tatami floors, clean lines, soft light, and nothing that doesn't belong. Every item has purpose, every detail deliberate. And the space between things? That's where the peace lives. But most of us weren't raised to see space that way. We've been taught to fill shelves with decorations, walls with photos, days with appointments, minds with non-stop thoughts. And over time, it adds up, not just visually, but emotionally. Cluttered spaces often reflect a cluttered mind. If you're constantly feeling overwhelmed, ask yourself, does your home give you clarity, or does it compete for your attention? Creating physical space helps create mental space. When you remove what's non-essential, you're not losing. You're actually gaining focus, gaining calm, gaining the ability to breathe deeper, think clearer, and feel more grounded. So, here's something simple you can try. Pick one small area, a drawer, a table, a corner of your room, and clear it. Not just to tidy up, but to make space. Then leave it empty for a day or two. Notice how it feels. What does your mind do when your eyes see calm instead of chaos? In Japanese homes, light flows freely. Air circulates. And that natural openness softens the noise inside. Empty space isn't lack. It's the quiet foundation that helps everything else come into balance. And maybe, just maybe, it's what your life has been missing. Lesson 2: less noise, more clarity. Have you ever walked into a room and without knowing why, felt anxious, distracted, maybe even tired? You might not see it right away, but your nervous system does. Bright lights, background noise, the buzz of your phone, the clutter on the counter, the tabs open on your screen, all of it is noise. Not just the kind you hear, but the kind you feel. And the thing is, most of us are so used to it that we don't even realize how much it's affecting us, how much it's stealing our peace. One notification, one loud commercial, one crowded room at a time. Japanese minimalism teaches us something quietly radical, that your environment is speaking to your mind constantly. So the question is, what is it saying? In Japan, many homes are intentionally designed to reduce mental noise. Soft lighting, neutral colors, simplicity in what's displayed, nothing excessive, nothing shouting for your attention. And it's not just about beauty, it's about mental clarity. Your brain craves order. It functions better when it's not bombarded. A tidy desk, a muted color palette, a quiet afternoon with your phone off. These aren't luxuries, they're lifelines. Try this. The next time you're home, pause. Turn off background music or TV. Silence your phone for 10 minutes. Look around the room. How much visual or auditory clutter is there? Things you're used to tuning out? Now, imagine subtracting just one of them. What happens to your breathing, your focus? Reducing stimuli, even just a little, lowers anxiety and sharpens clarity. It helps your mind slow down so your heart can catch up. And in a world constantly yelling for your attention, choosing quiet, is a deeply powerful act. Lesson 3. Silence also speaks. Why is it that silence makes so many of us uncomfortable? Have you noticed it? You walk into your home and immediately turn on the TV for background noise. You put on a podcast while folding laundry, music while cooking, and scroll your phone while eating. Even when you're alone, you're not really alone. You're filling the space. But here's a question worth asking. When was the last time you just sat in silence and listened? In Japanese culture, there's a word, seijaku. It means deep stillness, a kind of sacred silence that doesn't feel empty, but full of awareness, of presence, of calm. Unlike the silence that feels awkward or boring, seijaku is nourishing. It's the kind of silence that doesn't avoid emotion, but gently invites it forward. It's a pause where your thoughts settle, and your real feelings rise to the surface. The truth is, we often run from silence because we're afraid of what we might feel when it arrives. But here's what's powerful. Silence doesn't demand anything from you. It doesn't judge. It simply offers you a chance to observe rather than react. In Japanese minimalist spaces, silence is built into the architecture. Rooms with few distractions, gardens designed for contemplation, tea ceremonies conducted in near quiet. It's intentional because they know silence heals. You don't need hours of meditation or a silent retreat. You just need a few honest minutes with yourself. Try this. Turn off everything. Sit, breathe, listen. Not for answers, but to reconnect with what's beneath the surface. Silence isn't the absence of life. It's the space where life speaks the clearest. Lesson 4. Fewer choices, more peace. Have you ever stood in front of your closet for 10 minutes, staring at a full rack of clothes, and still felt like you had nothing to wear? That, my friend, is decision fatigue. In today's world, we're constantly bombarded with choices. What to eat, what to wear, which emails to answer first, which app to open, which podcast to play while cooking dinner. And while having options sounds like freedom, too many can quietly drain us. Our brains weren't designed to make hundreds of tiny decisions before noon. That's why, by the time we get to the bigger stuff, like showing up fully for our relationships, doing focused work, or choosing rest over distraction, we're already mentally spent. Japanese minimalism offers a gentle but powerful shift. Simplify the small so you can be present for what matters most. In Japan, it's common to see capsule wardrobes, just a few well-made, versatile pieces worn in rotation. Meals are simple and seasonal. Morning routines are repetitive, calm, predictable. And here's the thing, it's not boring, it's freeing. By removing unnecessary decisions, you create space, mental, emotional, and even spiritual space, for deeper focus and greater intention. Want to try it? Start with just one area. Maybe your wardrobe. Maybe your meals for the week. Maybe even the apps on your phone. Create limits, not to restrict you, but to support you. Because when you reduce the noise of trivial decisions, you amplify your ability to choose consciously. And in that quiet space, you'll discover something remarkable. Peace isn't just about what you let in. It's about what you let go of. Lesson 5, Minimalist routines. What's the very first thing you do when you wake up? For most of us, it's something like grabbing the phone, checking notifications, maybe diving straight into emails or the news. And before we've even stepped out of bed, our minds are already sprinting, trying to catch up with the world. But what if we started differently? In Japanese minimalism, the first moments of the day are treated with care, with purpose, with stillness. It's not about adding new habits. It's about being intentional with the ones we already have. Imagine this. You wake up slowly. You stretch. You make your bed, carefully, not out of obligation, but to create a small sense of order. You walk to the kitchen and make a cup of tea. No rush, no screens, just presence. That's a minimalist routine. It doesn't require a fancy planner or a 5 a.m. boot camp. What it offers is something far more sustainable: rhythm, clarity, and emotional grounding. These tiny rituals, making the bed, tidying a corner, taking a few mindful breaths, may seem trivial, but over time, they become anchors. They remind you, you're in control of how your day begins. One of the most powerful shifts you can make. Avoid screens for the first 10 to 15 minutes after waking. Instead of reacting to the world, you respond from within. It's a small act of self-respect, and it changes everything. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Just start with one peaceful action in the morning and let that quiet discipline guide you through the rest of the day. Because how you begin often shapes how you live. Lesson 6. Pauses are essential. When was the last time you truly paused? Not stopped because you were exhausted, but paused on purpose, with intention. We live in a culture that celebrates constant motion. Work harder, scroll faster, multitask more. If you're not being productive, you're somehow falling behind. But Japanese minimalism teaches something beautifully different. There is power in the pause. In Japan, there's a word, ma. It means the space between, the silence between sounds, the gap between actions, the breath between thoughts. It's not empty. It's what gives everything around it meaning. Think about music. Without the pause between notes, there's no rhythm, just noise. Your life is the same. Pauses are not wasted time. They are where your mind resets, where your body exhales, where your spirit catches up with everything your schedule ignored. In Japanese culture, this shows up everywhere, from the design of traditional gardens to the quiet moments during a tea ceremony. Every silence is intentional. Every space is sacred. You don't need hours of free time to experience Ma. Start with 5 minutes of stillness. One mindful breath before your next meeting. A silent tea break without your phone. Or try the Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes of focused work, followed by a 5-minute pause. It's not just efficient, it's deeply restorative. Because here's the truth. If you never stop, you never fully arrive. The pause doesn't slow your progress. It's what makes your progress sustainable. So, today give yourself permission to sit, to breathe, to not fill every second. Let the silence between moments shape your day. Because in that quiet space, you'll find clarity, balance, and maybe even a piece of yourself you forgot was there. Lesson 7. Appreciate the present. How often do you find yourself rushing through your day, already thinking about the next thing, even before finishing the one in front of you? It's become so normal, hasn't it? Eating while scrolling, talking while thinking of what to say next, working while planning 3 steps ahead. And in all that motion, we miss the moment we're actually in. But Japanese minimalism teaches us a quiet truth. The present is not something to get through, it's something to come home to. In Japan, there's a deep appreciation for now, for being fully engaged in the simplest of acts, whether it's preparing a meal with care, sipping tea without distraction, or simply walking slowly through a garden. Each moment becomes a meditation. This is mindfulness, not as a trend, but as a way of living. And no, you don't have to be sitting cross-legged or lighting incense to practice it. You can be fully present while washing dishes, feeling the warmth of the water, or while listening to a friend, really listening, not rehearsing your reply, or while drinking your morning coffee, without checking emails or to-do lists. Presence brings you back to yourself. It reduces stress, strengthens relationships, and helps you experience life, not just pass through it. So, here's something to try. Pick just one everyday task today. Walking, eating, even brushing your teeth, and do it with your full attention. Feel it. Breathe through it. Notice how it changes the experience, because life is not lived in the next moment. It's happening here, right now. And sometimes, the most radical thing you can do is pause long enough to notice it. Lesson 8. The meaning of small things. In the rush of daily life, it's so easy to overlook the little things. We chase the big goals, the promotion, the new house, the next milestone, and forget that much of what makes life beautiful is quiet, ordinary, and easily missed. But Japanese minimalism offers us a humbling reminder. It's the small things, done with care, that hold the deepest meaning. There's a concept in Japan called kano, the art of simplicity, of stripping away what's unnecessary so that what's essential can truly shine. It's not just about having fewer things, it's about valuing what you already have. Think of the traditional Japanese tea ceremony. Every gesture is deliberate, every movement is precise, not because it's fancy, but because it's intentional. It turns something as simple as pouring tea into a moment of reverence. What if we treated our own lives the same way? Making your bed each morning, not to check a box, but to invite order. cleaning a dish, not just to tidy up, but to care for something that serves you, repairing a broken object instead of tossing it because it still has a story. Even relationships reflect this. It's not about how many people you know, but how deeply you connect. A slow conversation with a friend, a thoughtful message, a moment of shared silence. These are the threads that hold a meaningful life together. So, today try this. Choose one small thing, an object, a gesture, a relationship, and treat it with extra care. Notice what happens when you give it your full attention, because sometimes the smallest details are the ones that matter most. Lesson 9, real connection matters more than things. Think about the most meaningful moments in your life. Chances are they weren't about what you owned. They were about who you were with, the people, the laughter, the feeling of being seen, heard, and loved. Yet somehow, in our culture, we've been led to believe that fulfillment comes from accumulation, more money, bigger houses, newer tech. But Japanese minimalism teaches us a quieter, deeper truth. What matters most can't be bought. There's a beautiful concept in Japan called omotenashi. It's often translated as hospitality, but it means so much more. It's the art of making others feel truly valued, of offering care without expecting anything in return. A glass of tea served with sincerity, a space prepared with thoughtfulness, a gesture that says, "You matter here." And then there's kintsugi, the ancient practice of repairing broken pottery with gold. Instead of hiding the cracks, they're honored, highlighted, and made beautiful. It's a powerful metaphor for relationships. The fractures, the mistakes, the hard moments aren't flaws to be hidden, but part of the story, part of what makes the bond more precious. True connection doesn't demand perfection. It asks for presence, attention, willingness to show up, even when it's not easy. So, today reach out, send the message, look someone in the eye when they speak, sit down for a meal with your phone face down. Welcome someone into your space, not just physically, but emotionally. Because when you strip away all the extras, what remains, what really matters, is the love we give and the moments we share. And that, more than anything you'll ever own, is what will last. So, now you've heard them. 9 simple, powerful lessons from Japanese minimalism. And maybe you're thinking, where do I even begin? Here's the answer. Begin small. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You don't need to become a monk or throw away all your stuff. All it takes is one gentle step. Maybe today you choose to clear one drawer and leave it empty. Maybe tomorrow you make your bed, slowly, with care. Or maybe, for 5 quiet minutes, you sit in silence and let yourself just be. Because the truth is, real transformation doesn't happen in dramatic moments. It happens in the quiet repetition of small choices, made with intention. Little shifts that build a life that feels less heavy, more spacious, and more yours. Minimalism isn't about having less for the sake of it. It's about making room for clarity, for peace, for connection, for joy. And right now, you get to decide, what will you keep? What will you release? And what kind of life do you want to make space for? If one of these lessons spoke to you, don't just let it sit in your notes. Live it. Practice it. Let it slowly reshape the way you move through your day. And if you're ready, say it with me. I choose to live with ease. Thank you for being here. And I hope this video was the pause you didn't know you needed. See you in the next one.